Coordinates: 31 degrees north 89 degrees east, 31 degrees north 89 degrees east, 31. 89 Tibet is a region in East Asia covering much of the Tibetan Plateau spanning about 2,500,000 square kilometers above sea level. The Tibetan Empire emerged in the 7th century. But with the fall of the empire, the region soon divided into a variety of territories. The bulk of western and central Tibet was often at least nominally unified under a series of Tibetan governments in Lhasa, Shagatsa, or nearby locations. The eastern regions of Kham and Amdo often maintained a more decentralized indigenous political structure, being divided among a number of small principalities and tribal groups, while also often falling more directly under Chinese rule after the Battle of Chamdu. Most of this area was eventually incorporated into the Chinese provinces of Sichuan and Ganghi. The current borders of Tibet were generally established in the 18th century. Following the Xinhai Revolution against the Qing dynasty in 1912, Qing soldiers were disarmed and escorted out of Tibet area. The region subsequently declared its independence in 1913 without recognition by the subsequent Chinese Republican government. Later, Lhasa took control of the western part of Zhejiang, China. The region maintained its autonomy until 1951 when, following the Battle of Chamdu, Tibet was occupied and incorporated into the People's Republic of China, and the previous Tibetan government was abolished in 1959 after a failed uprising. Today, China governs western and central Tibet as the Tibet Autonomous Region while the eastern areas are now mostly ethnic autonomous prefectures within Sichuan, Ganghi and other neighboring provinces. There are tensions regarding Tibet's political status and dissident groups that are active in exile. Tibetan activists in Tibet have reportedly been arrested or tortured. The economy of Tibet is dominated by subsistence agriculture, though tourism has become a growing industry in recent decades. The dominant religion in Tibet is Tibetan Buddhism. In addition, there is Bon, which is similar to Tibetan Buddhism, and there are also Tibetan Muslims and Christian minorities. Tibetan Buddhism is a primary influence on the art, music, and festivals of the region. Tibetan architecture reflects Chinese and Indian influences. Staple foods in Tibet are roasted barley, yak meat, and butter tea. The Tibetan name for their land, Bod, is transcribed as Bho in Tuanadre phonetic transcription, Bo in the THL simplified phonetic transcription, and Poi in Tibetan Pinyin. Some scholars believe the first written reference to Bod itself from the Sanskrit form Bhotta of the Indian geographical tradition. The modern standard Chinese exonym for the ethnic Tibetan region is Zangku. Although the geographical term Xizang is often limited to the Tibet Autonomous Region. The term Xizang was coined during the Qing dynasty in the reign of the Jia Qing Emperor through the addition of the prefix shi to Zhang. The best-known medieval Chinese name for Tibet is Tubo, in the Middle Chinese language spoken during that period. As reconstructed by William H. Baxter, Tufan was pronounced Thuxphjon, and Tufan was pronounced Thuxpjon. Other pre-modern Chinese names for Tibet include. American Tibetologist Elliot Sperling has argued in favor of a recent tendency by some authors writing in Chinese to revive the term Tubot for modern use in place of Xizang, on the grounds that Tubot more clearly includes the entire Tibetan plateau rather than simply the Tibet Autonomous Region. The English word Tibet or Tibet dates back to the 18th century. Historical linguists generally agree that Tibet names in European languages are loanwords from Semitic Tibat or Tubet, itself deriving from Turkic Tobad, literally, the heights. Linguists generally classify the Tibetan language as a Tibeto-Burman language of the Sino-Tibetan language family, although the boundaries between Tibetan and certain other Himalayan languages can be unclear. According to Matthew Karpstein, from the perspective of historical linguistics, Tibetan most closely resembles Burmese among the major languages of Asia, grouping these two together with other apparently related languages spoken in the Himalayan lands, as well as in the highlands of Southeast Asia and the Sino-Tibetan frontier regions. Linguists have generally concluded that there exists a Tibeto-Burman family of languages, More controversial is the theory that the Tibeto-Burman family is itself part of a larger language family, called Sino-Tibetan, and that through it Tibetan and Burmese are distant cousins of Chinese. The language has numerous regional dialects which are generally not mutually intelligible. It is employed throughout the Tibetan Plateau and Bhutan and is also spoken in parts of Nepal and northern India, such as Sikkim. In general, the dialects of central Tibet, Kham, Amdo and some smaller nearby areas are considered Tibetan dialects. Other forms, particularly Dzongkha, Sikkimese, Sherpa, and